The big news that we're tracking from the US, the government has entered shutdown as lawmakers and President Trump failed to break a budget impasse during talks that hinged on democratic demands for healthcare funding. At midnight Eastern Time on Wednesday, funding for many federal agencies lapsed. The Senate rejected a Republican-led stopgap funding bill that was intended to extend government operations through 21st of November. The bill failed to secure the 60 votes that were needed in the Senate to advance. The vote among Democrats was nearly unanimous against the bill. But the question is, why didn't the funding measure pass? The divide is over healthcare, as Democrats insisted that any funding extension include restoration of Affordable Care Act, subsidies and reversal to cut to medical aid. Republicans resisted to that, arguing that the funding bill should stay clean without policy riders or even added healthcare mandates. One Democratic proposal, a $1.5 trillion alternative, would have allocated about $350 billion to extend expiring Obamacare tax credits and even reverse nearly $1 trillion in planned medical aid cuts. That proposal itself failed in a Senate vote of 47 to 45. Let's now take a quick look at what this shutdown essentially means on the ground for workers and for the American public in general. The Congressional Budget Office, which is the CBO, has estimated that up to 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed daily. Lost compensation is even projected at around $400 million per day in unpaid wages. But some essential services will continue, which include air traffic controllers, TSA screeners, federal law enforcement, and even critical safety inspections that must operate even without funding. However, unpaid workers and furloughed staff may strain these operations over time, leading to delays, cancellations, or safety bottlenecks in aviation permits, regulatory oversight, and more. The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, would furlough over 11,000 employees, which is about 1/4 of its workforce, even as more than 13,000 air traffic controllers are required to work without pay. Now, the TSA may also see disruptions. Around 50,000 of its personnel might continue working, but without compensation. A shutdown could cost the travel industry as much as $1 billion per week in lost revenue. Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader John Thune, blame Democrats for blocking a clean funding bill. Democrats counter that Republicans refuse to engage on healthcare provisions and that the GOP insists on a take-it-or-leave-it approach. President Trump has threatened irreversible cuts to benefit programs if no deal is reached upon. Labor unions have sued the administration's Office of Management and Budget, which is the OMB, and Office of Personnel Management, the OPM, challenging directives to prepare mass layoffs or reduction in force during a shutdown. Now, the unions even argue that such threats may violate existing federal law, especially the Anti-Deficiency Act, which bars spending without appropriation. At present, talks remain cancelled. Democrats are unified in their opposition and Republicans insist on their terms.